Hey guys, how's it going? Late Friday night, and Oregon just got one of the biggest commits in quite a long time. The number one offensive tackle in the class from Seattle, Washington. It's Josh Conerly. I watched Josh a little bit of YouTube highlights. Josh Conerly Jr., he's up there in Seattle. And I mean, what a journey for Dan Lanning to get this guy, because at first, in November and December, he was committed. He was pretty much looked like he was locked into Michigan, or it was Washington. Then USC also made a run at him, and then Oregon got involved late in the process. And Oregon and USC separated themselves from Washington and from Michigan. And to get this kid right in a Washington foothold and to beat out USC, it speaks volumes to Dan Lanning and his staff. And this is a huge commit for the 2022 class, whether it's going to be Bo, whether it's going to be Ty Thompson. I'd even would love to see Jordan James even start getting some carries this year, but you do have Sean Dollars, you do have Coda, who's a transfer, but you also have good wide receivers that are still on this team like Dante Fortin, Troy Franklin, Hudson. These are guys that really showed out towards the end of last year. But boy, oh boy, this is a monumental recruit for the Oregon Ducks and for this class and for everything to get Conerly. I mean, he's projected as a first-round pick. He's projected like Laramie Tunsil. That's his comparison. And just watching him on the tape, he's an explosive lineman. Like, he can really be an athlete. He even played some defensive end in high school. He's a really, really fluid guy, and he's a five-star guy who's 6'5", and who's should be able to cover for the quarterback. And I know that Nico Yamiyea went to Tennessee, and Oregon was very involved in his recruiting, but there's still several other recruits for the 2023 class at quarterback, at wide receiver, at running back that are now going to love to play with Josh Conerly. And Oregon returns a lot of guys up front. So this is an unbelievable, terrific day for Oregon football. It's Adrian Clem. It's a big-time get from Adrian Clem. They got the kid from California that's probably going to be a guard on this team, but Adrian wins out. Clem wins out. Kenny Dillingham now, the pressure sort of ratchets it up. The expectation when you have a stud tackle or a guy that everybody considers to be the number one tackle in the country, you're going to have pressure to have a pretty dang good offense and to compete for a Pac-12 championship this year. The defense I'm so impressed with. Meet Martin, the guy who came in from the other secondary coaches, I'm also a big fan of as well. But I'll tell you, like, this 2022 class is really fun for the University of Oregon. I mean, you have Trajan Williams, who's a local Portland kid that, is an absolute stud that'll come and hit you, that can make plays. You then have Taggart and, of course, Devin Jackson from Utah. You have Florence and Tucker, who are played on the same high school at Lincoln and San Diego. So the defense is looking unbelievable. And then, of course, I love Terrell, who's a lanky cornerback from Killeen, Texas. So the corners and the safeties, it was a great, great class for Lanning, for Meet Martin. It was a really, really good class for Oregon. But getting Conerly, I mean, it just starts the process that Oregon ain't here to mess around. They're not here to play second fiddle to Lincoln. They're here to own Lincoln Riley, and they're here to own the West Coast. And Conerly, in every single interview, the kid is just seems like an awesome, awesome kid. From everything that you hear and everything that you see of Conerly, the guy's going to be an absolute rock star in Eugene. And what a job by Oregon, staying persistent, way into April here. And you get Josh Conerly. And I think for Conerly, he made the right choice. You look at Washington, his home state. I know you have Hainer coming in there, but they're getting a new coach from Fresno State. And the new coach, has some ability. But again, like, I think Oregon's in a much better position with Cristobal than Dan Lanning to win and get elite level talents, get elite level athletes. Of course, USC's going to have great quarterback play, but Oregon's also going to have very good quarterback play. Between Bo or between Ty Thompson, you're going to get a very solid quarterback that's going to win a highly contested job. And then, Kenny Dillingham and Adrian Clem. Adrian Clem gets guys to the league. Adrian Clem was really good at UCLA. He was a tremendous recruiter, and he's showing that right now. And then he worked under the Pittsburgh Steelers in one of the best franchises, not only in the NFL, but in all of sports. He worked there under Mike Tomlin. So today's a huge day for Adrian Clem as well. So what a job by Dan Lanning getting Adrian Clem. All right, Tony Toyota got a guy today as well. But Josh Conerly Jr., man, this is a monumental day in Oregon history. Okay, getting a 5-star recruit. He really was in on Michigan. The home state Washington really pursued him. USC made a big run at him, and USC, I mean, of course, has still put guys into the league, even more maybe on the offensive line than Oregon has. So from a tackle standpoint, I mean, Oregon fans can obviously update this for me. But, I mean, I haven't remembered a tackle being as prolifically as advertised as maybe Josh Conerly. And I don't know if Oregon's had a tackle taken in the first 3 rounds. But listen, it's 3 years of Conerly. He's got to open up running lanes for like Jordan James. Justice Lowe is a guy I'm really excited about. And then the wide receivers from last year. You have some tall, you have some lanky receivers coming in there. Ty Thompson and Bo Nix. I mean, for Bo Nix, he's really going to have to win this job, because if Ty Thompson shows Kenny Dillingham that he can be a really, really solid quarterback in the Pac-12 and you can win with him, then you're going to get Conerly up to speed with Ty Thompson. So it's a big, big year also for Ty Thompson in this quarterback race, because you're bringing in a stud tackle, one of the best tackles in the country. There's pressure immediately. Okay, there's pressure immediately to be successful on offense with Kenny Dillingham in this offense, all right? I love Kenny Dillingham. I love the hire of Kenny Dillingham. I love the energy that he brings. At Florida State, honestly, like, Chubba Purdy didn't really pan out there. You did have Jordan Travis progress a little bit. They did beat Miami, but it was rocky. The offense was very inconsistent. They were 0-4 last year. At Memphis, of course, Kenny Dillingham and Norvell went off with Brady White, with Riley Ferguson. It was a scoring fiesta at Memphis. But at Florida State, it was a slow go. And it was a slow go. And then, Dan Lanning loves Dillingham, and I get it. 2 younger guys, and I'm as big of a Dillingham fan as anybody. He's the best interview in college football. He's one of the most genuine, honest coaches probably in this profession. But it's going to be up to him to scheme, and it's going to be up to him to really produce, because at Florida State with Norvell, it wasn't like they were lighting up the ACC. Now, there were a lot of circumstances, Fisher, Taggart. It was a lot of turnover at Florida State. The COVID season, so you couldn't get reps. But this was big for Kenny. He's venturing out on his own, away from the Dillingham, away from the Norvell tree. When he was with Malzahn, he was kind of just a quarterback coach. That was Gus's show. It's Kenny's show now. Kenny is the guy. And Kenny and Adrian Clem now have Josh Conerly, and Conerly's working behind a really experienced offensive line. All right, this is huge, huge for Oregon. It's huge for the offense, because I pointed out the defense is freaking awesome. And it's great for quarterback recruits. It's great for commitments. It's great for people looking into Oregon. Like, wow, what's these facilities all about? What's the NIL about? I'm going to get to play behind Josh Conerly if I'm a running back or a quarterback. I'm going to get to have, a stud 5-star. Other linemen are like, hey, I want to play with this guy. All the football scouts, all the NFL draft GMs are going to be flocking to Oregon, okay, because Conerly is a 5-star offensive tackle known as a can't-miss prospect in the draft. So, hell of a job by Oregon. We're only 1 year in, and I've been telling everybody this Lanning thing is special. This Lanning, this coaching staff, everybody involved. Johnson, the wide receiver coach, okay, I got to even pull up Oregon staff, but I got to give a huge shout out. I got to give a huge shout out. Today's Adrian Clem's day. Today, Adrian Clem wins, period. Okay. So Adrian Clem, known as a stud recruiter, Adrian Clem's getting it done at the University of Oregon. Adrian Clem's making his presence felt. Okay, you have Meringer, who I like. The guy is Matt Pallage. Okay, Matt Pallage is the guy on the back end that helps out with the safeties and the corners. Josh Conerly Jr., you go to Seattle and you boss on your rival, the Washington Huskies, and get Conerly. Big time day for Oregon football.